Welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. You know, sometimes we dive into topics that just really capture people's imagination. And our last look at Professor Upchuck's Vegetables and Meat Pop beverages. Well, that was definitely one of them. A real hit. A lot of you reached out, said you loved it. Seems like Professor Upchuck's unique world really struck a chord.
It really did resonate, didn't it? Which is, well, kind of fascinating given how unconventional these products are.
Absolutely. But here's where the story gets a bit strange. That popularity, it actually caught the eye of Professor Upchuck's Consumables Incorporated's lawyers. Yep, you heard that right. We actually got a letter threatening a lawsuit claiming misrepresentation of their products.
Which, just to be clear, we at Deep Dive Productions feel is completely baseless. But the funny thing is, instead of backing us off this legal threat, it's actually pushed us to dig deeper. It's kind of ironic, really. Their threat basically demanded a more thorough look at their whole setup.
And look, there's something else we wanted to share, kind of a personal note from our side. Since that last deep dive, a bunch of us here at Deep Dive Productions, yeah, me too, we actually went out and tried some of the Professor Upchuck stuff. Felt it was kind of important, you know, for the full picture. Journalistic integrity, maybe?
And the general feeling, speaking for those of us who experienced it, it was pretty overwhelming, honestly. The products were just, well, let's not beat around the bush. Unpalatable, disgusting, sickening, and gross. That's the consensus.
Yeah, pretty much sums it up.
But look, that direct experience, however unpleasant, it doesn't change our goal here. We're still aiming for an objective analysis of the facts, the source material. If anything, it gives us sort of tangible grounding, a real-world check against their claims. So we can look at what they say with maybe a bit more context.
Exactly. So today's mission, if you're joining us again, is an even wider deep dive into the weird and wonderful world of Professor Upchuck. We're revisiting the meat pops and the vegetables, sure, but we've got a new contender, a truly mind-boggling addition, Professor Upchuck's Fizzy Phlegm Energy Slime. Our goal is the same. Pull out the key insights, really understand the company's incredibly bold claims, dissect the philosophy, the marketing, all of it. For you.
Right. Our job is to try and cut through the complex language, the strong opinions, everything Professor Upchuck throws out there to give you the clearest possible picture of what's actually going on. It's going to be, well, it's going to be a ride.
Okay, let's start with a new one because, wow, this latest creation is something else. Professor Upchuck's Fizzy Phlegm Energy Slime. First off, it comes in a tube, which is already, different for an energy product. And yeah, despite that name, Fizzy Phlegm, they present it as a totally serious commercial product. You can buy this. Right now.
And the list of things it supposedly does, it's just astonishing. It really stretches the idea of what one product can do, or maybe should do.
Yeah.
Like, first, it's pitched as a cheap and fast alternative to coffee for energy.
Okay. Straightforward enough. If you can get your head around drinking something called phlegm slime for energy.
But then it jumps way over into personal hygiene. It says, quote, it whitens your teeth.
Wait, what? It whitens your teeth? You're supposed to put this in your mouth. Knowing what we know about their other stuff, that's a choice.
That's the claim. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it keeps going. Household cleaning? Yep. Apparently, it removes stubborn stains from clothing.
Okay, hold on. Energy boost, teeth whitener, and a stain remover from the same tube.
This is getting wild. It's like they're challenging the whole idea of product categories.
Pretty much. It sounds like something from a spoof infomercial, right? But they seem serious. Oh, and one more thing. For your pets.
Cuts. What does it do for pets?
Simple. Cats and dogs love slurping it. So it's also a pet treat. Right. Energy, teeth, laundry, pets. One tube. Okay. Now the really shocking bit, because we actually know what's in this stuff, the main ingredient, according to the source material, is the plasmodial stage of Fuligo septica, which most people know as dog vomit slime mold.
Yeah, and that's where things get really interesting, or maybe just disturbing. The core ingredient is literally called dog vomit slime mold. And they want you to eat it, put it on your teeth, use it on your laundry, feed it to your pets. The cognitive dissonance there is just huge.
So we're talking about that bright yellow slimy stuff you sometimes see on mulcher logs, that fungus-looking blob?
Exactly that. Fuligo septica. It's a common slime mold. Quite vivid when you see it in nature.
And that's the base for this everything product.
Right. And the contrast is just stark. This very natural, maybe kind of gross-looking organism marketed with these almost magical benefits. You have to ask why. Why choose this specific ingredient? Is it pure shock value, or is it part of their whole brand identity? Disrupting norms, using natural ingredients in the most extreme way possible. Maybe it's a comment on how easily we accept natural marketing if the name wasn't quite so graphic. Okay, let's really try and get our heads around this. How can one thing, one slime mold product, supposedly do all that?
Yeah.
Energy, teeth, stains, pets. I mean, is there some hidden property in dog vomit slime mold we just don't know about? Or is this pure marketing genius just pushing the envelope as far as it can possibly go?
It feels like the latter, mostly. It's taking the idea of a multi-purpose product to an absolute extreme. We see, 2-in-1 shampoos, maybe a cleaner that does kitchens and bathrooms. Fine. But this. Energy drink, toothpaste, laundry detergent, and pet food.
Yeah, it's like they found this common, slightly disgusting natural thing and just brainstormed. Okay, how many different problems can we claim this solves? It really does force you to question product categories. Is it food, cosmetic, cleaning supply, pet supply? It doesn't fit anywhere. They're essentially saying this one organism, once processed their way, can meet needs across totally separate areas of life. It's not just multi-purpose, it's like meta-purpose. It's almost a philosophical statement that nature, even in its weirdest forms, holds all the answers if you're just bold enough to, drink the slime mold.
It's definitely bold
Yeah.
and maybe a bit disturbing.
And it definitely tells you something about branding. How far can you push the bizarre? How much can shock value and a revolutionary narrative grab attention, even if the product itself is questionable? It's a lesson in looking past the hype.
Okay, so from the new and frankly baffling slime, let's go back to something slightly more familiar territory, though maybe no less weird. Let's revisit Professor Upchuck's meat pop beverages, the whole liquid meat line. We touched on these last time, but there's so much more here.
There really is.
Yeah.
And the range itself is pretty extensive. Shows a real commitment to, well, liquid meat variety. You've got porky pop, cow pop, cock-a-doodle-doo pop, that's chicken, presumably.
Right.
Gobble-gobble pop for turkey, fishy pop, crabby pop, and then the ultimate meat medley pop.
A bit of everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the core claims are pretty straightforward in their own way. A cheap and fast alternative to non-liquid meats and surgery non-meat drinks. Yeah. Emphasis on 100% processed meat byproducts. And crucially, zero sugar added. It's pure liquid meat essence.
Pure, unadulterated liquid meat. And the details on these are just wild. First, they're described as being alive with bubbling cultures, which means they're naturally fermented, carbonated, so fizzy meat juice.
Precisely. Effervescent meat. And just like the slime, there's a pet angle.
Yeah.
Cats and dogs love slurping it, so pet treat again.
Okay. Consistent branding there.
But then it pivots to humans.
Yeah.
Specifically, cocktails. The source suggests it can be used as a creative mixer for alcoholic drinks.
Wow. A porky pop martini. Or maybe a fishy pop Bloody Mary. I'm struggling to imagine enjoying that.
Me too. But the versatility doesn't end there. There's even an environmental angle. Apparently, unused unwanted product can be used as a fertilizer.
So it feeds you, your pets, mixes your drinks, and helps your garden grow.
Seems so. And for the real fans, the true believers, they offer DIY tips. You can freeze them on sticks to make meat pop ice pops.
Meat popsicles, okay.
Or even better, maybe, can be frozen in ice cube trays to make meat pop ice cubes. And the suggestion is add them to any drink for a cold, meaty flavor delight.
A cold, meaty flavor delight. Just let that phrase hang in the air for a second. The sheer audacity of that is kind of impressive in a terrifying way.
It really is. It shows they want their product integrated into every part of your life. No boundaries.
So how do they make this stuff, this apotheosis of meat? Professor Upchuck's Consumables has this incredibly complex, jargon-heavy explanation. They call it a prolix analysis of our sui generis production method. So it's very academic.
Oh, it does. It's described as an esoteric, perfidilucidate journey of Zune Politikon engineering, language designed to sound incredibly profound, maybe even impenetrable.
Right. Perfidilucidate. Zune Politikon. What does that even mean in this context?
Well, perfidilucidate might mean something like shedding light on deceit, which is an interesting choice. And Zune Politikon is Aristotle's term for a political animal, usually referring to humans. How it applies to meat processing.
Yeah.
Unclear. It seems deliberately obscure. Let's break down the steps they describe. First, they take the primal, unalloyed essence of the chosen meat, raw meat, basically, and subject it to controlled hydrothermodynamic dissolution.
So breaking it down with heat and water, boiling it.
Essentially, yes, but they do it in their proprietary hypercoagulative zymotic chamber.
Hypercoagulative zymotic chamber. Okay, that sounds like something from a sci-fi movie. Is that real terminology?
Not standard food science, no. Hypercoagulative suggests rapid clotting. Zymotic relates to fermentation or enzymes. It sounds technical, but applied to just dissolving meat. It's mostly pseudo-scientific flair. designed to impress.
Makes sense. What happens next?
This kicks off preternatural curding and subsequent fermentation. They introduce a bespoke, self-organizing zoomorphic culture, a special fermenting agent. This fuliginous process, meaning sooty or dusky, another weird word choice, creates that bubbling delight that is literally alive with curious cultures.
Alive with cultures. Okay. Fermented meat juice. Got it.
And filtration. It goes through a gravitonic particulate separator.
Gravitonic, like using gravity fields.
Again, sounds advanced. Probably isn't. It likely just uses gravity or centrifugal force to separate solids, like many normal filtration methods. But they call it non-perfunctory filtration, meaning not careless or routine, to retain the ineluctable splendor of the natural meat pulp.
The splendor of meat pulp.
Yeah. And the end result, a liquid ens realissimum, the most real liquid entity, a physical and effulgent testament to the absolute apotheosis of meat.
Wow, they really pile on the obscure, philosophical, scientific-sounding words. Ontological aporia, bibulous form. It's almost like they don't want you to understand the process.
Exactly. It's a strategy. Use complex, intimidating language to create an aura of profound, unique science. It makes the product seem like this incredible breakthrough that only they could achieve. It discourages questioning because it sounds too complicated to challenge. It's a masterclass in using jargon as a shield and a status symbol. A powerful reminder for us all, really, to question overly complex language, whether it's about food or anything else.
Is there any grounding in real science for any of those terms used together like that? Or is it purely word salad?
It's overwhelmingly word salad. Look, real food science uses complex terms, sure, but this is different. It feels like they just grabbed impressive-sounding words from philosophy, physics, biology, and threw them together. The goal isn't clarity, it's mystique. Positioning Professor Upchuck as some kind of bioalchemist, it's pure branding through obfuscation.
It's like a whole new language just for meat soda, and that carries over into the actual flavor descriptions. They're not just descriptions, they're these mini essays full of extreme adjectives. Really grabs your attention.
Oh, absolutely. Take Porky Pop. It's not just pork-flavored, it's a pungent and unctuous retort. It delivers a plenitude of carbonated pork essence, an absolute triumph of taste and texture.
An absolute triumph. High praise for pork soda.
And it gets even more. Epic Fishy Pop. That's described as a Herculean and esoteric crusade in liquid form.
A crusade in a can.
Apparently. It's a piscatorial panacea, a fishy cure-all providing a singular, unalloyed marine flavor, a prodigy of maritime meatiness.
A prodigy of meatiness, okay. And Krabby Pop.
That one is a rumbustious and recalcitrant essence. Its flavor is a gallimaufry, which means a confused jumble of delectable crab meat that offers a superfluous yet deeply gratifying hubbub of flavor and texture.
Rumbustious, recalcitrant, gallimaufry, hubbub. They're really digging deep in the thesaurus for these. It's almost poetic in a bizarre way.
It's meant to suggest incredible complexity, something almost too profound for simple words. It appeals to a certain kind of consumer, maybe, one who values the esoteric.
And if you just can't decide, there's Meat Medley Pop. That's a farrago, another jumble of pure meat essence. It's the locus standi of flavor, the place where flavor stands, its authority, and it resolves the aporia of choice.
So it solves your philosophical problem of choosing which meat soda to drink. Amazing.
It's not just marketing, it's existential counseling via beverage.
Which leads perfectly into their grand statement, what they call a polemical parting. This is where they lay out the whole philosophy behind meat pops. They're not just drinks. They are a consummation, a sui generis paradigm, a unique model that has irrevocably altered the very fabric of liquid sustenance.
Altered the fabric of liquid sustenance, wow.
And they declare, we stand now at the ineluctable pinnacle of culinary evolution. Inescapable. The time for solid victuals has passed, as a new dawn of liquid meat ascends.
The time for chewing has passed. That's a bold claim. A manifesto, really.
It absolutely is. And they pose this core question really challenging basic human behavior. Why, after all, should one be constrained by the perfunctory act of mastication? We ask you, why eat your meat when you can drink it?
Why chew when you can slurp your steak?
Exactly. And they bolster this with claims like, this effulgent product is a tour de force, a truly hylomorphic manifestation of meaty greatness. Hylomorphic, meaning combining matter and form. Again, very philosophical for a drink. And those taglines, the meat you drink can't be beat, and meat pop, the more you drink, the better it gets.
The more you drink, the better it gets? Given our personal experience, That claim feels particularly ambitious. Maybe it's an acquired taste, a very acquired taste.
Perhaps. But what strikes me is the sheer fervor, the almost religious conviction behind it all. Is this genuine belief in a liquid meat future? Or is it just incredibly effective, boundary-pushing marketing? If you connect the dots, what does this vision tell us about the future of food, according to Professor Upchuck? It's a future that completely dismisses chewing traditional meals, maybe even variety beyond meat. Convenience and pure liquid meat essence are paramount. It's an evangelical mission, really, trying to convert people to their way of thinking. You see this in other disruptive brands, too. They don't just sell a product, they sell a whole new way of life, often by attacking the old way.
Okay, so if liquid meat wasn't enough of a paradigm shift for you, brace yourselves. Let's dive back into Professor Upchuck's Vegmeatables. Now, if you were with us last time, you'll remember these. They're billed as the vegetable alternative for carnivores, or more directly, the meaty alternate to yucky plants.
Uh-huh.
And the core concept, the real twist, is that they are crafted to look like vegetables, but from meat. Specifically, 100% processed meat byproducts with zero plants.
And this is where the paradox just really shines, doesn't it? They're making meat look like the very thing they despise, vegetables. It's an explicit rejection of yucky plants. It's not just food, it's like a statement piece.
Right.
A dietary rebellion.
Right, not just an alternative, but an antithesis to plant-based eating. But why? What's the actual point of eating meat that just looks like a carrot or a cucumber? Is there a claimed benefit, or is it purely ideological?
It seems almost entirely ideological, a physical manifestation of their all-meat philosophy. They describe these Vegmeatables using terms like sententious ens realissimum.
Sententious ens realissimum. Okay, what does that mean?
Roughly, it means like profoundly moral, most real things. It's incredibly high-flown language for meat shaped like veggies. They call their creation a triumph of zoonological engineering. Again, that term zoonological may be implying some kind of animal-focused logic or engineering. It apparently required a new form of post-actualization, a sublime and fabulous method for transmuting the very essence of meat.
Transmuting the essence of meat. Alchemy, basically.
Pretty much. And they boast that the verisimilitude, the lifelikeness of our creations, is a pretentious marvel, a tour de force of applied biothermodynamics. That language, all that complex jargon, it ties right back into the meat pop philosophy. It's this grand rejection of normal food categories, positioning meat mimicry as cutting-edge science and deep philosophy. Post-actualization makes shaping meat sound revolutionary.
And the actual science they describe for making these. It's just as elaborate and, well, baffling.
Yeah.
Let's look at some specific examples. They're really something.
Okay, how about the mucumber? Their substitute for a cucumber.
Mucumber, got it. Made from
Processed beef, which apparently undergoes a perfumatic anthropotropic process.
perfumatic anthropotropic. Are those real?
Not that I can find in standard science. Sounds like more Upchuck speak. It's meant to create a bifurcated and pellucid lattice, a divided, clear structure inside the beef. The result is a crisp cucumber alternative with a pugnalicious surprise.
Pugnalicious, like stabby, or maybe pungent.
Unclear, but the description concludes that the mucumber's very existence is a defenestration of photosynthetic dogma.
Throwing plant science out the window, literally, with a beef cucumber. The sheer poetry of the absurdity is kind of amazing.
It really is. And they have cabbage, the cabbage substitute.
Okay, crabbage, let me guess. Made from crab.
Ringo, delicate flesh of the crab. It's subjected to thermoclinistical laminar pressing, basically pressing crab meat into dense, wafer-thin sheets.
Right.
These sheets are then bound together using a subfrictional process into symbiotic cladistic layering that mimics a cabbage head. And this crabbage is positioned as a rumbustious and recalcitrant foe to actual cabbage.
A foe. They're really framing this as a battle. Meat versus plant.
Absolutely. It's culinary warfare.
Okay, so beef cucumbers, crab cabbages. What about fruit? You mentioned a porcana last time.
Ah, yes, the porcana, the banana substitute.
Does it? Does it taste like banana or just pork?
The description promises a palpable plenitude of cured pork belly delight. So, definitely pork.
Okay. How do they make a pork banana?
It starts with prime pork belly. This goes into a resonance-enhanced lipophilic transmogrifier.
A lipophilic transmogrifier, so it transforms fat magically.
Sounds like it. Using medicotropic frequencies, which supposedly induce a mutagenic effect on the lipids. This creates a complex striated log, the banana shape, with hygroscopic properties, meaning it absorbs moisture.
Okay.
And the piece de resistance, it has a peelable skin made of reconstituted rubberized pork rinds.
A peelable pork rind. Banana. I just can't even picture the texture or the smell. Our initial reaction of disgusting might have been underselling it for that one.
It's certainly a concept. And again, the terminology, resonance-enhanced lipophilic transmogrifier, metacotropic frequencies. It's pure sci-fi jargon applied to food processing, making shaved pork sound like advanced physics.
And the Hamato, the tomato substitute, how did they pull that off?
Get ready for this one. Prime ham pulverized into a fine farrago of particulates. Ham dust, basically.
Ham dust, okay.
This ham dust is suspended in an ionized field. Then a quantum-tunneled laser, which is guided by abstruse and recondite algorithms, secret, complex math, precisely shapes the ham dust.
A laser shapes ham dust into a tomato.
Into the spherical, ribbed form of a ripe tomato, yes. This, they claim, resolves the aporia of a meat-based sphere, the philosophical problem of making meat round, apparently.
A quantum-tunneled laser. Quantum tunneling is a real thing in physics, but on a microscopic scale. Using it to shape ham dust, that's not how it works.
Not at all. It's like saying you used warp drive to go in the grocery store. It's borrowing futuristic terms to make something sound impossible and advanced. And the Hamato is described as a grandiloquent rebuke to the lachrymose and pusillanimous tomato.
Calling a tomato tearful and cowardly.
And declaring the Hamato a de facto triumph over botanical tyranny.
Botanical tyranny. Wow, the language is just so aggressive. It's not just anti-plant, it's declaring war on vegetables.
Precisely. And that rhetoric, defenestration of photosynthetic dogma, triumph over botanical tyranny, it's key to their brand.
Yeah.
It builds this identity of being rebellious, contrarian, superior to nature itself. It appeals to a very specific mindset.
So wrapping up the vegetables, they're not just food items.
Not at all. The company frames them as a philosophical and peremptory rejection of an entire paradigm.
Yeah.
They call them a subpoena ducis tecum for your attention, a legal demand for you to pay attention. An impertinent and incongruous challenge to the very foundation of your culinary verisimilitude, your food reality. And they invite you, the consumer, to join their Herculean and esoteric crusade for a future that is unapologetically and unequivocally all meat.
So what does this all mean for how we think about food? Is Professor Upchuck just a bizarre outlier, or does this extreme example make us question our own assumptions about what's normal or possible with food?
I think it does the latter. It's so extreme, it forces you to confront your own definitions. What is food? What makes something palatable, natural? Are there other, maybe more subtle ways that food marketing is trying to reshape our perceptions, our culinary verisimilitude? Professor Upchuck, in his own weird way, makes us think about those bigger questions.
Okay, so you've got the slime, the liquid meat, the meat vegetables. How does Professor Upchuck get people really invested beyond just buying this stuff? Well, they have something called the Consumer Pyramid Contest game.
Ah, yes. The loyalty program, Upchuck style.
And getting into this game, it's
Yeah.
quite the commitment.
That's putting it mildly. To even enter, you need to collect 1,000 game ID codes. And each code is a unique 88-character code found on every single product.
1,000 products you have to buy first. And then
you go to their website, register, and you have to manually type in all 1,000 of those 88-character codes.
that's 88,000 characters. Manually. Just think about the sheer effort and the cost of buying 1,000 products. What does that tell you about who they're targeting? It's not casual fans.
No, this is for the hardcore believers, the truly dedicated. It demands significant financial investment and a huge time commitment just for entry. It filters for extreme loyalty.
Okay, so if you manage all that, what happens next?
You get an official game package in the mail, usually within 2 weeks. And the game itself involves completing various challenges and sustaining various goals involving all of Professor Upchuck products. So more consumption, more engagement.
Right. But here's the really eyebrow-raising part, the pyramid aspect.
Yes. The source explicitly states the game requires you to get more people to join the game, which allows you to grow your pyramid, allowing you to win extra special prizes.
They actually call it a pyramid in the name. In the rules,
Yeah.
it's surprisingly blunt. Usually companies using similar structures avoid that word, like the plague.
It's definitely bold. And it raises immediate questions, obviously, about the structure resembling pyramid schemes. But beyond that specific game, it's a fascinating, if extreme, example of how brands try to turn customers into advocates, into recruiters. It makes you look differently at referral bonuses and loyalty programs everywhere, doesn't it? Where's that line?
It really does. Okay, so you're in the game, you're maybe building your pyramid. What can you actually win? Because the prizes are, well, there's something else. Awarded monthly.
They are a study in extremes. Let's start with first place.
Okay, grand prize.
$1 million.
Wow.
Plus, 1 million tubes of Professor Upchuck's Fizzy Phlegm Energy Slime.
1 million tubes.
1 million tubes. Also, a 1,000,000-can assortment of Professor Upchuck's meat pop beverages, and an assortment of 1 million servings of Professor Upchuck's Vegetables.
So $1 million and literally millions of servings of their products. You'd be set for life, assuming you wanted to live on Upchuck products.
It's an absolutely staggering prize package. Life-changing, certainly. But then, look at second place.
Okay, what does the runner-up get? Still pretty good.
Second place gets a $5 off coupon on any Professor Upchuck product and 1 tube of Professor Upchuck's Fizzy Phlegm Energy Slime.
Wait, from $1 million and a mountain of product, down to a $5 coupon and 1 tube of slime.
That's the drop. And third place,
Oh boy, what's third place?
a commemorative Professor Upchuck sticker.
A sticker. So first place is unimaginable wealth in product. Second is basically negligible. Third is a sticker. The disparity is just comical, almost insulting.
It definitely sends a message, doesn't it?
Oh.
It says the only prize that matters is first place. Everything else is basically nothing. It's structured to drive intense, maybe even cutthroat competition for that single top spot. Makes the odds seem incredibly long for everyone else. While the allure of the $1 million prize is huge, the actual reward for almost everyone participating is minimal. It's a psychological setup dangle, an almost impossible dream to motivate maximum effort from the hopeful few.
And there are a couple of final details about this contest. All contestants get free news and updates about Professor Upchuck's Consumables, so ongoing marketing.
Standard practice for contests keeps you engaged.
But then there's this crucial disclaimer. This game, the rules and prizes may change at any time.
And that's a big one. It basically says the company can change anything, anytime without warning. What does that do for trust? It reinforces the idea that Professor Upchuck operates by its own unpredictable rules. Caveat emptor buyer beware indeed. Especially when the buy-in involves 88,000 keystrokes. Hashtag tag outro in it.
Wow, okay. That was quite the deep dive, wasn't it? We've journeyed again through the truly unique, sometimes unsettling, but always memorable world of Professor Upchuck's Consumables. From Fizzy Phlegm Energy Slime, the slime mold marvel that does everything to the meat pop beverages, pushing a future beyond chewing, and the Vegetables, that ultimate paradox of meat disguised as plants, all wrapped up in that aggressive all-meat philosophy and a rather demanding pyramid game.
Yeah, the consistent thread through all of it is that unwavering, almost religious commitment to their all-meat worldview. They're not just selling weird food, they're selling a whole ideology backed by this incredibly complex pseudoscientific philosophical language. It's really a case study in extreme branding, audacious product design, and using language as both a weapon and a shield.
And it's important to circle back to our own experience here at Deep Dive Productions, trying the products ourselves and reaching that consensus. Unpalatable, disgusting, sickening, and gross, which ironically seems to be the very misrepresentation they threaten to sue us over. So this exploration today, it really has been about understanding the ideas, the marketing, the sheer audacity behind it all, rather than recommending the taste experience.
Absolutely. Our experience provides context, but the analysis is about the phenomenon itself. Which brings us to a final thought, something for you, our listeners, to maybe chew on. Metaphorically speaking, of course. In a world where science is constantly pushing boundaries and marketing is always crafting new narratives, how do we tell the difference? How to distinguish genuine innovation, culinary or otherwise, from a purely philosophical crusade, especially one that might be, well, unpalatable?
Good question.
And what does it really mean when a company like Professor Upchuck challenges the very foundations of our food reality, our culinary verisimilitude? Does it make us question what other truths about the products and industries around us we might be accepting just because they're presented with enough confidence, enough jargon, enough sheer weirdness? What else are we maybe not seeing clearly?